What's going on, guys? Britta here, and today we're going to be working on the first certification project, which is to build a survey form. Alright, so our objective, build an app that is functionally similar to this page here. Okay? You should have a page title and an H1 element, so we need to do all of these things. So we're going to do, start this out, doc type, HTML, head, HTML, HTML, head, body, / body. Okay, be sure to add the link, copy this, and place that here. You should have a page title and an H1 element with an ID of title. Okay, so free code camp survey form. So in a P element, ID, wait a minute, you should have a page title and an H1 element. H1 element with an ID of title. And this is going to be /title. A free code camp survey form. Free code camp survey form. Okay. Not servery, survey. Okay. You should have, I wish I could check these off. You should have a short explanation and a P element with an ID of description. So we're going to do P element, ID, description, and /P. Let's see what the, thank you for taking the time to help us improve the platform. So, thank you for taking the time to help us improve the platform. And I think, you know what, build an app that is functionally similar. So we don't want to do the exact same thing. So what we're going to do is change this to Britta develops survey form. Thank you for taking the time to help us improve. Thank you for taking the time to help me improve my content. Okay. Let's leave it like that. Alright. You should have a form element with an ID of survey form. So this will be form ID survey form. Inside the form element, you're required to enter your name in an input field. Okay, so inside the form, input ID equals name, right? Type equals text, you're required to enter your name in the input field that has an ID of name and a type of text, and we have both of those. Okay, so that's there. Inside the form element, you're required to enter your email. Input ID, email, type, email, in an input field that has an ID of email. You'll see an HTML validation error. Inside the form, you can enter a number in an input field that has an ID of number. So we're going to do that. And this is going to be required. So we've ran our test so far and we're good down here. So maybe I should just use these to check it off. You should have an input element with an ID of number. What is theirs for? H. Okay, so input ID equals number with an input element ID of number. Your number should be a descendant of survey form. Your number should have a type of number. Your number should have a min attribute, min min 13 and max 120. Just use what they used before. You should have a label element with an ID of name label. So that should go label ID equals name label. And close that label. Name. So this should be label ID input. So before this, name. Okay. Label ID email label email alright, email and number label. So label ID, no, yeah, label ID equals number label and age. Alright, let's go ahead and run it so far. Okay, so we're good down to here. Your name should have a placeholder, attribute, and value. Placeholder, attribute, and value. Whoops. Ah, I see. Input required placeholder enter name, enter your name. Required placeholder enter your email like they did, we're going to have our age. I don't want this there. Let's see. But we want a space afterwards. Space. We're going to make this optional. So that's not required, but we want a space afterwards. Okay. Can I make this smaller? Okay. Yes. All right. So where are we at? Placeholder, placeholder. Placeholder equals enter your age. Or just put age. Okay. You should have a select field with an ID of drop down. So that should be after the form. You should have a select field. Select ID equals drop down. Okay. And there we go. We got our drop down box. Your drop down should have at least 2 selectable, not disabled option elements. I need to think for a second about what I want the drop downs to be. So this is a survey for this is going to be a survey for my YouTube channel's content. So being that our content is to learn tech skills, I am going to ask the same question they have, which is what's your current role, right? So select ID drop down. And then how do we do your drop down? Should be a descendant of survey form. So this should be inside. I don't think that's right. Let's see. Let's run this and see if it works. Okay, so yeah, it had to be inside the form element. And then we have to do options. So the first one will be select current role. Right? You should have at least 2 wait a minute, that's not where I'm at. Your drop down should have at least 2 selectable, not disabled option elements. So option and we're gonna have, say, employed. We're gonna say student. Okay, and those pop up. That's awesome. Employed, student, and we'll do an other option, I guess. Employed student, and then we'll do another option, which is learning I'm just gonna put learning solo, but what I mean is like you're not a student of a particular school. You're just learning on your own. Alright, so let's run this. Shut some stuff off. Alright, you should have at least 2 input elements with the type of radio button. I feel like we're not done here. Well, I guess we are. And I forgot how to mark. I don't want this one to be selected. Or should I do placeholder equals select current role. So what if I comment this out? I forget how to comment out. Let's just cut it out, I guess. Cut. So this doesn't allow us to have a placeholder, so let's delete this. In fact, we could put a placeholder there. I was not wrong, right? Let's delete that. Hopefully nobody just hit select current role, or I'll have to figure out how to make that not selectable there. Because we can select everything else, but they can also just... Let's try to put 121. I don't think it'll let us do that. If I was to submit it, I don't think it would let us do it. Okay. All these are checked off. You should have at least 2 input elements with the type of radio button. So, input type equals radio. Okay. Input type equals radio. So now we have 2 radio buttons. So now we need to decide what that's going to be. We have those. You should have at least 2 radio buttons that are descendants of survey form. They are. All your radio buttons should have a value, attribute, and value. Have a name attribute. Input name equals yes. Input name equals no. Button. Hold on, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do. Input name is radio button. Okay. Value, attribute, and value. So input name, input type, input value equals value? That don't seem right. That seems very wrong. All your radio buttons should have a value of attribute and value. Every radio button group should have at least 2 radio buttons. You should have at least 2 input elements with a type of checkbox. Okay. Oh, instructions. All right. I need to see input name, type, radio, value. Value should be yes, I think. Value equal no. And then we do, I think we should do this in label for yes, yes. And then close that. And then do label for no, no. Let's do a space after and a space after. And then slash label. Yes, no. And we can select them both. And I forget how to change that so that they're not both selected. Let's go ahead and run this. Every radio button group should have at least 2 radio buttons. I don't want more than 2 radio buttons. Should have at least. I have at least 2. Radio. You should have at least 2 input elements with a type of checkbox. So that's going to be further down. I guess we can do input type equals checkbox that are descendants of survey form. Okay, type equals checkbox. And it says we should have 2 of those. Copy, paste. All your check boxes inside survey form should have a value attribute. Value equals, I'm not sure yet. So we'll leave that blank. You should have at least 1 text area element that is descendant. So under here we're going to have text area. And we'll have placeholder text that says enter your suggestions here. Text area. There we go. Enter your suggestions here. All right. You should have an input or button element with an ID of submit. So input button ID equals submit button and submit. Your submit should be a descendant of survey form. Let's run it. Alright, every radio button, all your checkboxes inside should have a value attribute and a value. Alright guys, we are on 25 minutes right now, so we've almost completed all the requirements here, but it still looks like crap. So next time we're going to finish up these requirements and make it look better, and I think that's it. I think we'll be done with this project, which is pretty not bad. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out. I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye!